A lot of the time when I talk to small business owners, I get the question, what do I post on social media? So today I'm going to show you my little hack for coming up with content every single day. Hey guys, it's Laura from Milroy Media. I'm helping small business owners and entrepreneurs leverage social media and digital marketing to create lifelong loyal customers and get paid. I was recently doing a presentation for a networking group, and one of the most common questions that I got from them is, what do I post on social media? And to be honest, I kind of laughed because it seems like that would be one of the easiest things and the first things that someone would know when they own a business. But when you're in your business, sometimes it's hard to pull yourself out and see what your audience actually wants to see. So I came up with a little hack on how to identify the scope of what you post on social media every single day. So just like when you come up with your business plan for your business and you identify the values and what you stand for as a business, on social media, you kind of have to identify the scope of what you're talking about. So you're not talking about anything and everything, but you're talking about specifically what your niche wants to know. So let's dive in and I'll show you how I categorize the different types of content that I talk about on my social media. So hands down, the most common question that I get from small businesses is that they don't know what to post and they don't know how to break apart their business in a way that can create digestible stories and digestible content for their audience to consume, to understand the value that they bring and understand why their niche audience would want to follow them. So honestly, I always laugh when I hear this because each business has an infinite amount of, story to tell and value to bring to their audience. And often what the problem really is that it's just so overwhelming to know where to start. So this is where the concept of content pillars really becomes very helpful in breaking that down a little bit. So I'm just going to dive into what I call content pillars, and you can see how they would be useful in sort of just breaking down some of those barriers and knowing what to post. So first of all, content pillars provide structure to your content schedule. So if we go back to the video that I posted a couple of few days ago about how to plan a month's worth of content in 15 minutes, it all comes down to these content pillars. I know my content pillars back and forward and ups and down and inside out. So I know what I have to post and what the scope of content is going to be on my social media platforms. So I can go into my schedule and know that I need to break down, I'm talking about these different things. I'm kind of talking about this much in a certain ratio, and I'll get into that a little bit more. So let's continue. Content pillars provide structure to your content schedule, so it makes it very, very easy for you to build that schedule and have that macro view of your social media month by month. It also keeps your messaging consistent, so you're not just all over the place. You know that you're talking about certain subjects, and then you can keep it focused on that. It also helps because your audience then can come to rely on you for a specific type of information. They know that if they want tips in social media, they can come to my social media account and they'll find that there. And they know that if they go to another business where they're posting, cute memes and stuff, they are not going to find social media tips there. It also makes content creation a lot easier. Like I showed you, I can now schedule my content in a very short amount of time, relatively speaking, and it makes my certain posting and certain things, it takes it completely off my plate. I do all of my writing and posts all in one day so that I can kind of get into a flow, I can get into a mindset, I can get into a persona, so I'm talking from a certain, using a certain voice, and then it just makes it so much easier when you're doing it all at once, and then you don't even have to think about it for the rest of the month, which is really, really great. But what the fuck are content pillars? So let's dive in. For business, it's going to start with two things. This is what I always say with social media for small businesses. You're really going to have two different types of topics. First is education. You're going to start there. You're going to bring value to your audience and show them that you know what you're talking about. And then you're going to entertain them. And if you look at social media, all of social media, and mostly all of media, comes down to these two things: education and entertainment. It is going to educate you on, it's going to educate your audience on your business and the types of services that you offer, and give them some helpful advice in the meantime before they decide if they want to purchase from you. And then it's also going to give them a little bit of entertainment and help them, like, pass the time. A lot of social media is used recreationally instead of professionally, and so you need a certain level of entertainment to keep them engaged, really, and that's going to be about it. So most businesses have 3 to 5 content pillars. I'm going to show you mine. This is kind of what mine look like, and I've done them in like literal pillars, so you can kind of get an idea of what it looks like. So let's dive in. The first one is I talk about my services. Honestly, like, you just have to talk about your products, right? If you're a small business, people have to know what you sell, so you make it very, very clear. Next, a lot of what I do is I give free advice, and people are scared of doing this because they think that, if I give all the free advice on my social media, people aren't going to buy from me. And honestly, that is just not the case. It shows people that you know what you're talking about, and it gives them a little bit of like a sense of safety that if they purchase from you, they're not getting like screwed over by someone who doesn't know what they're talking about. Or if you're talking about something and it's showing people that you only know about this one certain thing, they're not going to come to you for something else. So what that does is it really weeds out the wrong kind of people, or people who are not looking for your specific offer. And then I talk about industry news. Social media is changing all the time. People know that they can come to my social media channels and they're going to find like the most up-to-date sort of industry news on what's going on. So all of this is the education piece. And I really try to like front load the content with education, because this is really what people come to you for. If you're a small business, they want to be educated. If you're selling products, like if you're a retail store, educate them on the kinds of products that you have. Why is it beneficial? What need are you fulfilling in somebody else's life? What are the pain points that you are solving for them? This is all pretty like easy, basic stuff. You have to educate them in your business. This is one of the most important things that people do not do on social media. And it's to a huge detriment, because they're going to get people coming in and not knowing what they offer, or thinking that they offer something else, and their expectations are going to be out of whack. And then that's where conflict comes into play. That's where bad reviews come to play. That's where people who are unsatisfied are not going to have nice things to say about your business. So be very clear about what you offer and what the experience is when people either set foot in your store or send you their first message. And you will find that that your audience then knows exactly what to get. You're not going to be getting a lot of like random questions. You're not going to be getting a lot of people who aren't tailored into your niche. They're going to get what you want is a lot of people who are exactly your ideal client. Next, I talk about business motivation, because honestly, like, being an entrepreneur is really hard. If I'm a business owner who's like the only person in my business, some people call it a solopreneur, where it's a one-woman show, and this can be a very isolating business. So putting some business motivation on my feed is really important for me to connect with other business owners who might suffer from some of the same issues. And then I also do behind the scenes. I try to be funny. I show my lifestyle, because honestly, if people don't like me, they're not going to like working for me, no matter how much I know about what I do. And honestly, like, that's something that service-based providers really need to think about. You're a likable person. Everybody's likable to somebody. So you just really need to make sure that you are showcasing your personality, so people know what to expect when they meet you. If people don't like me on my social media, you are not going to like me in person. I swear, I talk about crazy stuff. I'm not a formal personality type. If you're looking for a more formal business interaction, you're going to want to find somebody else. So I really do talk a lot about like the behind the scenes funny lifestyle. I try to showcase my personality a lot so that people know exactly what they're going to get when they work with me. And that's the entertainment piece, right? You're talking about fun things going on in your life. You're sharing funny memes. You're really just showcasing your personality and providing some entertainment value. And if people don't like that, they don't like what you're about, then they're not going to like working with you, and it's time to find somebody else and just focusing on the people that do like working with you. So like I said, usually people have about 3 to 5 pillars. You can have more, you can probably not have less unless you're very, very niche. But I would suggest, starting from there. You can see from what my pillars were, what the kinds of things that you're going to want to talk about are. And maybe you're only doing education and you're not doing a lot of entertainment, like you just have to sort of start figuring out what your ratios are. For me, the value is in providing a lot of free advice and a lot of tips and a lot of like education to my audience base, and then enough personality that they know what to expect when they work with me. And all of these things do have sub-pillars. So like the behind the scenes stuff, some of it will be coffee, some of it will be, shouting out a local business. All of my services will be broken down into the types of services, as well as like each thing that you get when you get a service. So I can like break each pillar down a million different ways, and I'll never run out of content. And this is going to change per business. You will not have the same content pillars that I have. You will need to pick your own. 2 different clothing companies are going to have 2 different pillars because their audiences are 2 different people. You're really tailoring it on what you offer and what your audience needs. And honestly, I would start with what your audience needs first, because there was a reason you went into business. There was a reason that you felt like the world needed what you have to offer, and so you need to start there. What are you solving for them? What are you helping them with? What are you motivating, inspiring them to do or to purchase, right? Start with your audience first, always. And honestly, your content pillars will definitely change as your business grows. Your audience is going to grow with you. Your business is going to evolve. You might offer different services. You might change the kind of products that you have. The seasons change, so your content's going to change. So your pillars are going to change. That is fine. Like, honestly, I think everyone should do a review of their social media strategy at least twice a year, but maybe even every quarter, just to make sure that it is still serving their audience base. And honestly, you guys, these are just guidelines. These are just to help you figure out what your content is. If there's something that is outside your content pillars and that you feel is just so important for you to share, and you know in your bones that your audience would just absolutely love, then post it. You know what I mean? And maybe if it's like a funny meme, like I know people love memes and stuff, and they're worried about the aesthetic of your feed. One, I think feed aesthetics are important to a degree, but they're not the be all and end all. So if you find that your audience is really responding to memes, you can absolutely include memes in your posting. Or if you don't want to screw up the aesthetics of your feed and you still want to have a cohesive brand presence when people come to your feed or your pages or your accounts, then post them in your stories. Stories, people still see it. Video is like huge. People love stories, and it only lasts 24 hours. So it's a nice way to share something without it being a permanent on your brand presence. And if there's something that you feel like your audience would absolutely benefit from seeing, but it's outside of your content pillars, maybe you need to readjust your content pillars. Maybe you need to add something. Maybe you need to just do a quick pivot and see like, okay, actually my audience wants to see this. So the real important piece of this is that you identify what you think your audience needs to hear, what your brand and your business have to offer. Then you start posting them, and honestly, as always, you guys, do the analytics. Check at least once a month to see how your social media is performing and what you are getting out of it. You always have to be doing the ROI, the return on investment. You have to know like how your time is being maximized and what you're getting out of it. So if you're posting a lot of like what you think is great content and no one's clicking on it, no one's liking it, no one's responding to it or going over to your website, then you need to reevaluate what you're doing. If you're finding that you're posting all this really great content, people are commenting, they're engaging and whatever, but they're not buying from you, then you need to reevaluate your content pillars. And maybe that's just a ratio thing. Maybe you just have to like go back, go in here, and maybe you just have to go back and say, okay, I need, more education and less entertainment, or more entertainment and less education. You can go in and change these things and really make it work for your business. These things are always evolving. These are not set in stone. These are meant to be just guidelines to help you identify what you need to talk about on your social media for your business.
And that's really it.
I hope that helped you a little bit, and I hope that you can now come up with your own content pillars so you're never asking yourself what you're gonna post next. If you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe below to see more videos just like this one, and I'll see you next time.